up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. I got another little quick knife overview review for you. Before we get into it, check out the Patreon link down below if you feel like supporting the channel. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Subscribe if you want more content, more of me rambling about knives. This one was loaned to me by Stephen Weigel, aka Lanyard Man. It's thanks to viewers like him that get to check out such super cool knives. This one is, as you all probably well know and well familiar with this one, I'm very late to the game on this one, but this is the Winterblade Factor, man. I've been wanting to check this thing out for a while. Super cool knife. Definitely the Factor. When you hear that opening sound, really neat. Really a lot of individuals and unique stuff going on here. This was made by Brian Winters. Winterblade Co. is the name of his company. I believe these were OEM by Bestech, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they are made overseas by him and strictly QC'd, QA'd by him. Now this thing is very unique in the means that the deployment method and the detent and the lock are all actuated with magnets, activated and deactivated rather with magnets. So you got a magnet holding it in for the detent right now. When you push that little stopper down, it swings open, magnet right there, deactivates, sucks that in right there, and it's not going nowhere. It's a crossbar lock essentially, but with a magnet activating it. Now whenever you pull this back, now this is only one-sided, when you pull that back, it deactivates that magnet, it swings down, and that other magnet grabs it. How cool is that, right? That's pretty neat, I thought anyway. The milling on this thing's really nice. It's really super comfortable. With this little device here, is also spaced out really nice in the back. So that's a cool thing about it too. So before I get, too squirrel here, let me go ahead and do the specs real quick. Get that out the way. So overall length on this, from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle, looking right at 7 inches, which in my realm is that's shorter than what I'm used to, than what I normally carry. I'd prefer something like a more fuller size knife. This is what I would call a medium, not quite a small knife, but like a medium sized knife. Oh, let me get the blade here. From the tip of the blade to the handle, you're looking at 3 inches. If you go all the way up right there where it meets at, and thanks to that finger choil right there, you're looking just a hair over 2.5 inches, maybe right in between 2.5 and 2 5/8. Call it 2 9/16 right there with cutting edge on this thing. Let me get my calibers out here, make sure they're zeroed out. And this thing has just been awesome. I would carry this every day if I could. 119 thousandths on the thickest part of the spine, and 18 thousandths behind the edge. Let's go right here in the middle. You're looking at 0.32 of an inch, and up here you're looking at 0.41. So on the smaller side of average, I would say, but not anything crazy with the handle. So this is a flat grind on this thing. If it was a high-low, I'm sure it'd be slice here, but it's a flat grind on it. No issues really. I mean, this thing slices, hey, just like a normal knife. The blade works just fine. Let me go ahead and get that out of the way here. The paper cut test on this thing. I mean, this thing cuts and cuts and cuts. It cuts fine. There's absolutely nothing at all wrong with the way this thing cuts. It functions as a pocket knife perfectly fine. Probably not what I would say is the most hard to use pocket knife. I would be more prone if I was doing some dirty work or something out in the outside or on the roof or something, at work or something like that. I'd carry something, a little more, with a little more heft to it than this. But, Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong. This is a really, really nice knife. So let's go ahead and do size comparisons on that note. We'll get out the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and the Spyderco, flick it, Para 3. You can see it's right around the same size overall as the Para 3. And cutting edge is right about the same. Para 3 might have just a hair more cutting edge than the Factor. But if it does, it's not much. Get out the Ontario knives. The Rat Brothers here. The Rat Model 1. Rat Model 2. Alright, so you can see right there, it's in between. Well, not in between. It's closer to the Rat 1, or the Rat 2, actually, right? Rat 2 is actually right at just a hair longer overall than the Factor is. And last but not least, we'll get out the Cold Steel Knives 8010 and the Demco 8020.5. So definitely both of these are longer than the Factor, but this one only by a hair. That whether you're looking at it with the camera, but yeah, the 20.5 is just a hair longer than the Factor. You know, the 8010 of course is the 8010 is of course way longer than the Factor. Alright, so got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get the scale, see how much this thing weighs, if the magnets don't mess it up, which they shouldn't. I don't think they're that strong. 3.8, 3.9, 3.9, 3.9. Alright, so 3.9 ounces on that. So it's definitely over the ounce to inch ratio, but that's really not that heavy at all. You know, I wouldn't consider that, you know, something that would make me not carry it, at least, you know. Alright, pocket clip works just fine. Not exactly a deep carry. You do have a little bit sticking out there, right? But it's a nice little pocket clip. It's a milled titanium pocket clip. So no issues there. It holds onto the knife just fine. Knife doesn't come out whenever you turn it upside down. Alright, let's get, this is let's see, T8. Still hardware check on here. T8 there. It is reversible, right? So that's good. They have this little tab if you're right-handed. I actually swapped this around to right-handed carry. If you're right-handed, the clip goes against that little tab right there. If you're left-handed, you're just screwed. You might have to put a little piece of tape or something right there. But you can swap these around to where the clip's on this side. T8 on that, by the way, also. Yeah, T8. T8 on the body, T8 on the body. Nothing, I'm not sure how this thing takes apart, but nothing here and nothing there for the pivot. So yeah, that's interesting. I can definitely feel those magnets trying to pull the driver while I'm checking them. All right, so that's all T8. That's a good thing. I'm sure it can't be that complicated when you look at the internals of this thing. You know, just if you take it apart, I wouldn't do it on a metal table, you know, or around anything substantial that's metal. So kind of get a look at it at the internals of it. You know, there's that activator slash backspacer there. So no milling, but I mean it's still fairly light. What I would say is fairly light. You know, I mean it is a 2.5 inch, just over 2.5 inch cutting edge. The blade shape really nice, really good for utility cuts. You can choke up on it. You can get all the way up to the cutting edge. You know, it's not jimped. That would be nice, but it's not really that big of a deal to me. You know, it doesn't. You know, it's not something that would kill my thumb. I mean, maybe if I sat here and over and over and over again and did like 1,000, you know, cardboard cuts or something like that with it, yeah, you know, but it's not really like a killer or anything like that. This little fuller hole, opening hole, whatever you want to call it, that thing works perfect for reverse flicking. And as you can tell, the acoustics are on point every time. Sounds really good. You can activate it also with this. This has a little tritium insert. That's a carbon fiber I don't know what you would call that thing. Push rod, activator, pecker thing. I don't know. I mean, it's nested in the finger choil right there when the blade's folded up. But it's got a little tritium insert in there, and that's pretty cool. Actually, this thing, let's see if I can capture that. Whoop, probably help by turning the lights off. But that's pretty cool, right? It glows in the dark. Pretty neat. So yeah, that is pretty neat, and that's carbon fiber. Works just fine when you activate it with that too. Not as strong. I mean, you can't have it. You can fail it, I guess is what I'm trying to say, you know. So you can't just push it and expect it to go flying open, right? You gotta push it all the way down. If you do that, no problems at all. Middle finger flick, fine. Slow roll it out, fine. You can't really use that because of the way it works with magnets, like you could with a crossbar lock. So, detent on it. Detent's fine. Yeah, just all around a great knife. I mean, if you don't do any work in a fab shop or something like that, where you're around a bunch of metal shavings, I think this would be a pretty good knife, you know. I do work in a refinery. I am around metal shavings pretty good bit, so I couldn't really carry this to work. But outside of work, I would love to have one of these things. This is an awesome knife. It's one of my own personal grails. I've been looking for one of these for a long time, just to have on the channel, you know. And I've wanted one way before I started the channel. So, an awesome knife. I don't think of anything else. I mean, this is titanium, M390 on the blade. I don't know how they do their heat treat, but I think Bestech does pretty good. I believe it's Bestech's OEM. I could be wrong on that. So yeah, titanium, magnets, carbon fiber, M390, all kinds of stuff in here. Pretty neat knife though, I would say altogether, man. I mean, the finish is nice on it. These little lines, you know, those little lines are perfect. Everything's symmetrical. You know, the little grips and stuff match up. That's cool. So looking at it close up, I mean, this is a really well made knife, you know, and a really good blade shape too. You know, it's not just something you can sit on the, you know, sit in the safe. You know, I mean, it's not necessarily a safe queen. I just wouldn't carry this thing around, you know, something with a bunch of metal. You know, or if you work somewhere, you know, or are working around a bunch of metal. So anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. Awesome knife. Thanks again to Lanyard Man. Big shout out to him and Dominic, and thanks for letting me borrow this thing so I could do the review. This has been an awesome experience carrying this knife. I really love the Factor. I want to get one of my own one day. It'd be really cool, I think, to add that one to the collection, because that is a very unique knife, you know. These are not available for, you can't just like go on there and order them. You have to pre-order them whenever the pre-order drops, and once the pre-order's filled, then you're not going to be able to get one for a while. So usually the way it works, you know, you can subscribe to like a newsletter or something like that, Winterblade Co., and whenever they become available, you will get an email or something like that, and after they're full, they'll be filled up, you know, the order, and they'll be unavailable for a while. You know, after they fill the pre-order, they send it to Bestech, I'm thinking, as the manufacturer. They fill them, they send them to Winterblade, EQ sees them and all that stuff, so you'll get a notification when the pre-order is filled, and then a month, 2, 3, 4 months later, 6 months later, whatever, you know, Winterblade Co. will get them, and then after he QAs them and everything, checks them out, sends them out, you'll get it, you know. So it does take a while to get these when they are available, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind with this one, you know. It's not just something you can go on DLT and buy it, you know. And even when they are available, it does take a while to get them, you know. You don't just order it and have it the next week, unless you get on the secondary, you know, secondary market, in which that case, you know, in that case, you don't know exactly what you're getting a lot of times, right? So Anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. I really enjoyed carrying this knife, and I really appreciate it, Steven. Thank y'all for watching. Like the video if you like the content. Subscribe if you want more of it. And until next time, y'all stay sharp.